Right now, finding the sun in Sunday. After days of showers and clouds, Wisconsinites are hoping for a brighter work week ahead. Chris is tracking your first alert forecast. It's game time. The Bucks tip off for the first time in Toronto for Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight. A preview of the action coming up. Plus, Roe vs. Wade reversed. After a growing number of states passed near bans on abortion this week, what this could mean for the future of that landmark legal decision.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. It is 6:30 on this Sunday, May 19th. Thanks for starting your day with us here on News 3 Now. I'm Christina Laurie with meteorologist Chris Reese. Chris, now it's just foggy, but it was pretty soggy earlier.
I know. We're going to see at least another round of showers and thunderstorms likely to come through today. But the good news is today is the day that the pattern breaks, at least for one day, and we see more sunshine returning to our forecast. Now, here's a live look from the station right now. You did mention it was foggy. This is the proof of that. So take it easy as you're heading out. Honestly, a lot of the lower lying spots, the fog is less. So it's more so the higher up you are, the foggier it tends to be. We did have more rounds of showers and thunderstorms move through last night, bringing, of course, lightning and thunder with them as well. Those have since moved on to the north. So we are going to get in on a period of several dry hours. Temperatures also after that warm front are warmer this morning as opposed to yesterday morning. But notice how just to the west things are colder. We still have a cold front that is yet to come on through here, folks. But in the meantime, we're 7 degrees warmer in Madison. Platteville, 13 degrees warmer than 24 hours ago. They're at 58 right now. We do sit at 51. So the moral of the story is we're starting out the days in the 50s for a lot of folks. As you work your way towards the north, temperatures are starting out into the 40s. Wind still coming out of the east at 7 this morning, but that begins to change throughout the day. Of course, we'll see those temperatures in the 60s for highs with more rounds of showers and storms this afternoon. Temperatures will begin to drop after lunchtime as well. That's about when that cold front will likely come on through.
So what were we supposed to be seeing in that camera shot?
That is the station camera looking towards the west.
Oh,
all the
okay.
farmland and I think Blue Mounds. You can see that typically in the camera shot, not today.
Oh, okay, good to know. Since I could just make up whatever I wanted to be. It was definitely a beach.
It is a blank canvas. You can see whatever you want this morning with fog.
Well, thanks, Chris.
My
we'll check
pleasure.
back with you in a little bit. But first, new this morning, parts of the Midwest are devastated after nearly 50 reports of tornadoes in just the past 24 hours. This morning, hundreds of thousands of people are still without power as powerful thunderstorms continue to pound states from Texas and Missouri to Nebraska. Storm chasers in Kansas captured the moment a tornado touched down and flipped a big rig. The truck driver survived. That same storm slashed through this house in Mineola. Cleanup is already underway after the roof and brick walls were sheared off the home, scattering debris over several yards. The bad news, storms could drop several more inches of rain today, causing people to brace for another disaster, the potential for flooding. Also new this morning, the fallout continues after a growing number of states passed restrictions on abortion this week. The expectation now is that a case will eventually come before the newly conservative Supreme Court, challenging Roe v. Wade. Here's Kenneth Craig.
I'm here to tell you that our freedom cannot be bought with the blood of our children.
We are seizing her, and we may as well be the ones tying her hands to the bedposts and forcing her into childbirth.
The heated debate over abortion, this time in Missouri, brought some to tears as lawmakers overwhelmingly passed the country's latest abortion ban.
109 yes and 40 no.
Pro-abortion rights protesters quickly called on Governor Mike Parson to veto the measure, but he has vowed to sign it.
We have the opportunity to be one of the strongest pro-life states in the country.
Missouri's HB 126 is one of the so-called heartbeat bills, banning abortions after a fetal heartbeat can be detected, around 8 weeks. Doctors could face up to 15 years in prison for performing an abortion after that time period, and the bill does not provide exceptions for rape or incest.
This gives more rights to the rapist than it does to the mother. This law is barbaric.
The move in the Republican-controlled state comes in the same week that Alabama passed a near-total ban on abortions, the strictest in the nation. So far this year, 8 states have passed bills to limit the procedure. The laws have not taken effect and are sure to face lengthy court battles. Anti-abortion rights proponents hope one of these cases will eventually reach the conservative-leaning Supreme Court, creating a potential path to overturn Roe v. Wade.
The attention around this polarizing debate is now shifting to Louisiana, which is one vote away from passing its own heartbeat law. The state's governor, who is an anti-abortion rights Democrat, says he will sign that ban when it reaches his desk.
Senate could take up a package of anti-abortion bills next month after those bills passed in the Assembly last week. That includes what's being called the Born Alive bill. The measure could send doctors to prison for life if they refuse to provide care to a baby following a failed abortion attempt. Governor Tony Evers has already promised to veto that bill if it passes both houses. Republican Senator Ron Johnson says he doesn't know if he'll seek a third term. He told reporters this weekend at the Wisconsin Republican Party convention that if it was up to his wife, he would retire. He also said that he doesn't support banning abortions as early as 6 or 8 weeks into pregnancy. He believes that decision should be made at the state level. We can expect a ruling this summer from the Wisconsin Supreme Court regarding the lawsuit challenging laws passed during December's lame duck session, limiting the governor's powers. The court heard oral arguments in the case last week. Conservative-leaning judges poked holes in the arguments of the League of Women's Voters, who claimed the lame duck session was illegal. A Dane County judge ruled in their favor in January, but Republican lawmakers are hoping the Supreme Court will overturn that decision. The lawyers for the Republican-controlled legislature argued lawmakers never adjourned last spring, so the lame duck session was legal. More local news now. It's apartment hunting season for college students looking for a place to live come fall. But before you put your money down on a new place, one woman has a warning for you. Caitlin Matos Batista was helping her friend find an apartment using Craigslist. When they found an inexpensive house to rent that checked all the boxes, they emailed the lister. Then they started noticing some red flags. The supposed seller had a Florida phone number, told them to ignore a for sale sign in the lawn, demanded an immediate application fee, and when Caitlin asked to see the inside of the place, he said this.
Just go peek in the window. And that's when it was like, okay, something's not right. Nobody would say, just go peek in the window.
Caitlin ended up finding the rental on a popular real estate site for sale, and the realtor had no idea about that scam. The Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection, known as DATCP, says everything the seller did is a classic red flag and warns that the reverse situation can also happen. Now, this news comes as rent prices are on the rise in Madison, a trend experts say might be here to stay as more jobs come to the capital city. Madison rent prices have increased 0.5% over the past month and are up slightly by 1.1% compared to this time last year. ApartmentList.com shows the median rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Madison is $840. The average two-bedroom comes in at a little more than $1,000. That's below the national average of nearly $1,200. So if you're looking to rent, experts say now is that time.
Folks who are looking to rent, given that rents are on the rise, I think now is maybe a good time to do it if you are looking. Rents move in sort of a seasonal trend, and the summer season is the peak season for renting. So that's when you're going to see the fastest rent growth throughout the year. It's happening in summer months. So folks renting a new place in midsummer will be paying a little bit of a premium.
Even with this increase, Apartment List still has Madison listed as more affordable than most large cities across the country. In San Francisco, get this, you'll find the average two-bedroom renting for around $3,100. That's more than 3 times the price here in Madison. There's a new report out that might have you double checking your email before you head to work tomorrow and accidentally replying to something that might be a scam. Verizon is out with its 2019 data breach investigations report. Its findings show email is the easiest way for cyber criminals to get a hold of your information. Lower level executives for companies are most likely to be targeted, while HR departments are actually seeing less scam attempts. In this morning's health news, a new report shows Wisconsin's elderly population is living longer. That's according to the latest Wisconsin Department of Health Services death report. The report found that overall deaths in the state are up 15% from a decade ago, while the death rate for people 65 and older actually decreased 10% in that time frame. The top 3 causes of death in 2017 were heart disease, cancer, and unintentional injury. Research shows changing what you eat may help reduce your risk of getting and dying from breast cancer. A study shows women who follow a balanced, low-fat diet with more fruits, vegetables, and grains have a 21% lower risk of dying from the disease. The study looks at nearly 49,000 postmenopausal women. One group adopted a low-fat diet for 8 years, while the other group continued with their normal diets. Along with fewer deaths, the women who ate low-fat also saw fewer breast cancer diagnoses.
There are things we cannot control about breast cancer recurring or developing it in the first place. But the very, very interesting thing about the study is it shows us there are things we can control. Things like diet, maintaining a healthy body weight.
Doctors are recommending patients eat less red meat and processed foods and sprinkle in some healthy plant-based fats like olive oil, nuts, seeds, and avocados. Well, we're just 1 week away from Memorial Day weekend, and AAA says there's a good chance you're hitting the road. Nearly 43 million Americans are expected to travel this year. This would be the second highest travel volume for the holiday weekend on record and a 3.6% increase from last year. AAA says despite surging gas prices around $3 a gallon now, most Americans will be driving to their destinations. Here in Wisconsin, more than 800,000 people are expected to hit the roads. We have a first alert traffic note if you are driving through Janesville this week. Both directions of Wisconsin 26 will be closed under the interstate tomorrow night due to construction there as part of the I-3990 expansion project. The northbound bridge there is also being replaced. That means no left turns from the interstate exit ramps onto Wisconsin 26. That's exit 171A will be permitted under the bridge. The overnight closure runs from 7 o'clock at night until 7 Tuesday morning. Then overnight on Tuesday, just the northbound lanes will be closed. Work is also scheduled to begin tomorrow night on 2 sections of the Beltline. The work is planned between Gammon Road and Whitney Way and between Seminole Highway and Interstate 3990, both for resurfacing. Nightly lane closures will happen from 7 at night until 6 in the morning in both directions. The DOT says expect delays. Well, a big night for the Bucks and their fans. The team tips off for their first away game of the series tonight in Toronto. The team is 10-1 so far in the playoffs, and they're hoping to keep the wins coming in a game hopefully as decisive as Friday night's win. That's when the Deer came out of the gate running, up 9-0 to start the game. That was a good indication of how the rest of the game would go. The final score was Bucks 125, Raptors 103. Giannis had 30 points and is now one of 3 finalists for the league's MVP award, along with James Harden and Paul George. Game 3 starts at 6 o'clock tonight. We'll have more on the Bucks and their playoff run ahead in our 7 o'clock hour of this show. Some good news for the Brewers. Jimmy Nelson could soon be back in the starting rotation. Manager Craig Counsell says Nelson will make one more start in AAA on Thursday, and at that point, the team will make a decision about whether to add him back in permanently. Meantime, the Brew Crew could have used him last night after falling to the Braves in the 10th after a walk-off home run. The Brewers went into the game trying hard not to repeat Friday's outcome, taking an early 2-0 lead. But the Braves evened it out, and in the 6th, Atlanta took the 3-2 lead. It was ultimately Freddie Freeman that pushed the Braves past the Brewers. The two teams will finish out the series today at 12:20. And good thing that's an away game with rain in the forecast again here in Wisconsin. Time now is 6:44. Here's a live look outside this morning. Chris has your full first alert forecast just ahead.
Well, there's a lot of cloud cover and fog outside this morning as we remain in an unsettled weekend pattern, but things do begin to change for us, at least for a day in the week ahead. This is a live look from the station camera right now. Clearly enough, it's not clear. You can't see anything due to the fog that we have out there. Once we jump over towards the Edgewater sky camera, there's a little bit less fog, but still, things are cloudy, things are gray. There's a little bit of haze on the horizon there. Temperatures, though, a bit warmer than they were 24 hours ago. We are starting out the day at 51 degrees, and a lot of folks are seeing temperatures into the 50s, especially across southern Wisconsin. There are some 40s just to the north. What we actually have going on, folks, is a regional low pressure bringing that warm front in as we speak. So notice how winds are coming out of the east off the lake, just north of that front. They're coming from the due south once you get towards the south of that front. That whole system is going to continue to push through our area as we go through today. It's going to bring another round of showers and thunderstorms, but after the round this afternoon, I think we begin to calm things down for a bit. Here's Doppler track as we went through the overnight hours. You see the showers that moved on through. Most of that now up to the north as the region of low pressure continues to push in that direction. We are going to watch a small threat for some severe storms in the extreme southeastern corner of Wisconsin today. That as the cold front moves through, bringing in more chances for those showers and thunderstorms. Here's the whole setup right now. You see that cold front just to the west, extending from essentially Wisconsin all the way down into the panhandle of Texas. But it's going to be around lunchtime or so that next round of showers and thunderstorms moves on through. Once it gets towards the east of Madison, that's when these storms will have the best chance of becoming severe. But then things begin to quiet down. So watch the rest of the afternoon and evening. Will stay cloudy, but things begin to dry out. Temperatures begin to remain on the cooler side as well. And then we'll see sunshine for your Monday. So again, watch a severe weather threat in the extreme southeastern corner of the state. All very low chances for hail, winds, and potential isolated flooding. But I think for the most part, folks are going to end up being okay today. No big worries while you are out there. We do begin to watch another storm chance Tuesday and into Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday. But then we'll actually have a shot at a drier Memorial Day weekend. That chance of rain on Memorial Day Sunday comes late Sunday and into Monday.
We're looking forward to that Memorial Day forecast.
Yep, hopefully it can trend drier for us. We'll keep our fingers crossed.
Thanks, Chris.
My pleasure.
Well, millions of people visit Devil's Lake State Park every year, many on weekends, maybe Memorial Day weekend, but sadly, not every visitor makes it through their trip safely. We want to introduce you to the people who are prepared to help in those situations. The Baraboo Rope Rescue Team. It's made up of Baraboo firefighters, EMS, and UW MedFlight. This week, they sent down a patient who acted like they fell rock climbing. Then they fed down a paramedic and basket handler to help bring them back up. The rope rescue manager says this scenario happens in real life about 5 times a year, so the team practices their protocol up to a dozen times. While they're ready to help, they say the most important thing to remember ahead of your visit is simply to stay on the trails. Well, the time now is 6:51. Need to get another watch. Water parks across the state are getting ready to open next weekend, and this morning, a warning for parents. Drowning is among the top causes of death for 1 to 4-year-olds. Just ahead, a behind-the-scenes look at the new campaign combining some famous faces who know that heartbreak all too well. News 3 Now this morning, Sunday. We'll be right back. We're less than 1 week away from the start of water park season here in Wisconsin, and with that comes a reminder for parents about the dangers of drowning. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, drowning is a top cause of death for 1 to 4-year-olds. Now, some famous faces who know this all too well are teaming up for a series of announcements in the hopes they'll help your family. CBS News went to California for a behind-the-scenes look.
The bond between Nicole Hughes and Morgan Miller is forged in grief. For the past year, the two mothers have leaned on each other from across the country.
We watched them. We were good, attentive parents.
As they've navigated an unthinkable journey. Morgan and her husband, Olympic skier Bodie Miller, lost their daughter Emmy last June after the 19-month-old slipped out of a neighbor's house and drowned in a swimming pool. That same day, Nicole's 3-year-old son Levi also drowned after he wandered outside during a family vacation.
I'm Bodie Miller, and this is my wife, Morgan.
In Southern California, the families channeled their grief into action, partnering with the American Academy of Pediatrics to alert other parents to the dangers of drowning.
My son Levi was so proud to turn 3, but he will never get the chance to turn 4. I never thought my child would drown. But I was wrong.
Drowning is the single leading cause of death in children ages 1 to 4.
We believe it should be the #1 thing parents think about when it comes to safety. As a mom, I want other parents to know how fast drowning can happen. It takes moments. You have to be vigilant, as if it's a lion waiting to snatch your child.
Dr. Ben Hoffman of the AAP says the two families are making an impact.
The courage with which they've approached this and their willingness to share has really allowed us to communicate the issue in a very different way.
Look at you look just like your sister.
While honoring the children they lost, both families are celebrating new additions. The Millers are savoring every milestone with their 7-month-old son, Easton, and the Hughes family is expecting a baby girl very soon.
That was CBS's Gail King reporting, and there's a full hour of news ahead right here on our show. The day's top stories are next on News 3 Now This Morning, Sunday. We'll be right back. Right now, thanks to the Greek freak, Milwaukee's Greek population is freaking out. We'll see how that community is celebrating the Bucks' playoff run to, fingers crossed, the NBA Finals.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. It's May 19th. I'm Christina Laurie. We'll get a check on weather with Chris in just a second, but first, let's get you caught up on today's headlines. Parts of the Midwest are devastated after nearly 50 reports of tornadoes just the past 24 hours. This morning, hundreds of thousands of people still without power as powerful thunderstorms continue to pound states from Texas and Missouri to Nebraska. The bad news, storms could drop several more inches of rain today on those states, causing people to brace for another disaster, the potential of flooding. If you're heading to Devil's Lake today, there are some closures you should know about. The park is hosting the Big Ten Rowing Championships, so the closures there continue. The area along the south shore of the lake is off limits, so teams can stage and prepare their boats. And the northwest portion of the North Shore is also closed for the race starting area. The races run from 9 until 11 o'clock this morning. And new research shows changing what you eat may help reduce your risk of getting and dying from breast cancer. A new study shows women who follow a balanced low-fat diet with more fruits, vegetables, and grains have a 21% lower risk of dying from the disease. The study looks at nearly 49,000 postmenopausal women. One group adopted a low-fat diet for 8 years, while the other group continued with their normal diets. Along with fewer deaths, the women who ate low-fat also saw fewer breast cancer diagnoses. Well, after a gloomy Saturday, we're hoping to turn this weather around. How are things looking, Chris?
Well, unfortunately, at the moment, things continue to look rather gloomy outside, but changes are on the way. This is a live look from the station camera right now. Of course, things are rather gray because of the fog that we do have, especially on the western side of the state. But rounds of showers and storms did move through overnight. Those have since pushed on to the north. So we're getting a little bit of a break in the action, but check out back to the south and west. Here comes the next round of showers and thunderstorms starting to develop as we speak. That's as a cold front begins to push on through. In the meantime, things are warmer than we were 24 hours ago, especially across the southern tier of the state and down into northern Illinois. But back just towards the west, folks, you see where things are a lot colder than 24 hours ago. That, my friends, is the cold front that is going to come on through here. But in the meantime, Madison, 6 degrees warmer than 24 hours ago. You go towards Platteville. Get this, Platteville's 15 degrees warmer than 24 hours ago. That's where their temperature is at 62 right now. Janesville at 57. But everywhere you see these yellows starting to show up, that's where those temperatures are closer towards the 60-degree mark. This is as a warm front begins to push its way towards the north. Expect those showers and thunderstorms to move in later on. We do sit at 52 now. Winds coming out of the east at 3 miles per hour. We're going to be turning those winds out of the south in a matter of moments. Perhaps by the end of this show, Christina, some showers and storms will come between 10 and 2, or 10 and 12 rather. Then comes the cold front. Temperatures will begin to drop as we move into the afternoon.
Looking chilly. Thank you, Chris. The Bucks and Raptors head to Toronto tonight for Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Deer are leading the series 2-0. Meanwhile, back in Milwaukee, one local radio station is banning a certain rapper from its airwaves.
You know what's not coming up? Drake.
Break from Drake! Break from Drake!
He does have a curse, and he's very vocal on the sidelines. He talks smack to players, and if you're going to do that, you're going to bring that into our house. We don't want any of that.
KISS FM in Milwaukee won't play any Drake songs during this playoff series. The Grammy-winning rapper is a Toronto native and a big Raptors fan. He's also known for cursing teams. Whatever team he roots for during championship games, the other team ends up winning. Last week when Toronto played the 76ers, Drake wore 76ers shorts during Game 7. The Raptors, of course, won that one. As if the stakes weren't high enough for the playoffs, there's beer on the line. Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett and Toronto Mayor John Tory agreed to a friendly wager this week. Whichever city loses will have to gift the other some craft beer. Hope it's some Spotted Cow. After the Milwaukee Bucks continue their quest for the NBA championship, something that hasn't happened since 1971, the city's Greek community is especially excited for good reason. One of the league's biggest stars is the Greek-born Greek freak himself, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Carrie Altfinger has the story.
From Bucks-inspired sandwiches and cookies to giant banners downtown, Milwaukee has high hopes for the Bucks. The team hasn't gotten this far in the playoffs since 2001. Fans say it's long overdue.
You know, you have some losing seasons and you get a little discouraged, but you keep going to the games. And now that they're doing so good, it just, you know, you really feel the energy.
I think they're going to win the NBA championship.
The last time that happened was 1971, nearly 5 decades ago. It's particularly sweet for the tight-knit Greek community in southeastern Wisconsin, population around 10,000. One of the team's and the NBA's biggest stars, Giannis Antetokounmpo, was born in Greece and wears his Greek pride on his sleeve.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
His brother even waved the Greek flag when he was drafted.
And we feel so lucky to have him here because he's immigrated here like a lot of our parents and has that drive and dedication to become a success. And that's something that's, you know, kind of a big attribute in the Greek community.
Fans call him the Greek freak. Every year the team hosts a Greek night, and the 6'11" power forward makes a point of singing the Greek national anthem. Tim Stasanoulias is the president of the local chapter of a Greek culture advocacy group.
To be able to participate in that with Giannis and him leading us, again, gives you a great deal of pride.
That pride spills over this sandwich named after Antetokounmpo. The restaurant Georgie Porgy's created the Euro Step. It has a burger patty, Euro meat, feta cheese, and tzatziki sauce.
People love it, you know, they love what's going on in the community.
For lifelong fan Steve Atsinis, his connection to the team recently got a lot deeper. His son Dimitri was hit by a car and killed last November. The 26-year-old played basketball in tournaments and was a huge fan of the Greek freak.
No question has helped these last few months the fact that, you know, the Bucks are a good team. You know, if they weren't, I know that there'd be more sadness in our life.
A player and a team bringing an already tight-knit community closer. Carrie Antlefinger, Associated Press.
Again, the Bucks take on the Raptors tonight for Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Tip-off is at 6 o'clock, and you can watch that game on TNT, and then be sure to catch the highlights afterward, right here on News 3 Now at 10. Some good news from the Brewers. Jimmy Nelson could soon be back in the starting rotation. Manager Craig Counsell says Nelson will make one more start in AAA on Thursday, and at that point, the team will make a decision about whether or not to add him back in. Meantime, the Brew Crew could have used him last night after falling to the Braves in the 10th inning after a walk-off homer. The Brewers went into the game trying hard not to repeat Friday's outcome, taking an early 2-0 lead. But the Braves evened it out, and in the 6th inning, Atlanta took the 3-2 lead. It was ultimately Freddie Freeman that pushed the Braves past the Brewers. The two teams will finish out the series today at 12:20. More local news now. Check your freezers. Vienna Beef Limited is recalling more than 2,000 pounds of beef Franc links sold here in Wisconsin. The USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service says the products may have metal and other materials inside the meat. The items were shipped to Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin. There are no reports of illnesses or deaths, but the agency says anyone with these products should throw them away or return them. For more details, go to fsis.usda.gov. Beloit has been listed as the worst city to live in the state of Wisconsin based on crime rate, home value, and poverty rate. According to the USA Today study, Beloit had a poverty rate of double the rest of the state at 24% and had a median home value of $85,000, which is half the state's average. Still, leaders there say they're making strides and don't believe the data used in this study accurately represents what their city is all about.
What I would hope they would do is embrace their community. If you haven't been to Beloit, come and see it. If you live here, stand up and be proud. That newspaper doesn't know anything about what's going on in our community.
City leaders say future developments have the city on a positive path, including a potential new stadium for the Beloit Snappers and the possibility of expanding the Ho Chung Casino into the city. You can find out how people who live in Beloit are reacting to this study up on our website, channel3000.com. Well, time is 7:09. The Environmental Protection Agency says only about 9% of the plastic created in the U.S. is recycled. Now, one company is trying to revive an old idea to help with this modern-day problem. Loop is selling dozens of brand name products from Tide detergent to Haagen-Dazs ice cream in stainless steel or other reusable containers. When users are done with those products, they don't toss them in the trash or recycle bins. Instead, they pack them up and ship them back. Loop's empty containers are sent to a plant where they are washed, sterilized, and sent to the manufacturer to be refilled.
The world's biggest companies, from P&G to Nestle, from Mars to Unilever to Clorox, and Coke and Pepsi, all of these guys have joined in. Well, when you move from single-use products and packages to multi-use, what you're doing is you're eliminating the need to create packaging over and over and over.
Cornell professor Glenn Dowell likes what Loop is trying to do, but says all that shipping has an environmental impact too. You might not think of that. Loopstore.com will become available to the public this Tuesday, May 21st. Madison police are calling it a new twist on an old crime and a reason to make sure you have a safe place to store your kayak this weekend. Officers say people are stealing kayaks around town and selling them online. Daniel Kreischer keeps his kayak locked up and stored at the city's Tenny Park racks. Tuesday night, he saw it was missing. He searched kayak on Craigslist, and sure enough, there was his boat. With the help of police, he was able to get it back, but it turns out the suspected thief had stolen more than one, and Kreischer wants other kayakers to be on alert.
From now on, I'm going to try and be more careful when I lock it up and keep it locked at all times, knowing that people are out there eyeing these things up.
Madison police say they found a number of kayaks at the suspect's house and believe he had been stealing them to sell on Craigslist. Police were able to return another kayak to a second victim, but still have 3 and are looking for their rightful owners. Some big changes are coming to the national morning show that follows News 3 Now every morning. Tomorrow is the first day of the new CBS This Morning team of Gayle King, Anthony Mason, and Tony DeCoppel. Nora O'Donnell is moving up to take the prestigious spot as anchor of the CBS Evening News, while John Dickerson is moving to 60 Minutes. Even with the new faces, the show's producers say their commitment to bringing you real news every morning will stay the same. Well, the time now is 7:12. Also the same is this gloomy weather, unfortunately. More clouds on your Sunday, but we've been trying to find the sun for you. Doesn't look like it's out there yet, but Chris has your full first alert forecast just ahead.
Once again, we are watching another chance for some showers and thunderstorms to come our way. That'll be today, and then things begin to quiet down for us just a little bit. In the meantime, a warm front is just to the south of us, pushing towards the north. Notice how temperatures are a lot warmer as you get towards the state line. That's where 60s are showing up as close as Platteville. In the meantime, we're 10 degrees colder than Platteville and Madison. We have a temperature of 52 right now, and then 40s as you work your way even farther towards the north. Now, all of us will get a little bit warmer as we go throughout the day. In the meantime, fog associated with that warm front is hovering over the area. It seems to be the higher you are, the thicker that fog is, just because you're closer to the cloud cover. But here's a live look from the Edgewater sky camera as well, just showing you the cloud cover that you see across the state capital right now. Temperatures again are in the low 50s and winds coming out of the east at 3 miles per hour. Those will be turning to the south and really just a matter of moments. But we've been watching some of those showers and thunderstorms overnight push to the north. Now more chances for showers and thunderstorms are arriving from the south. We'll watch the possibility for some of these to be on the strong to severe side, but that greatest threat, folks, that's going to be east of Madison as you approach the Milwaukee metro. So if you're headed that direction this afternoon, some of those storms could pack some strong winds along with some hail. But the overall system that has brought the stormy weather all weekend is now starting to push towards the east. High pressure back on the backside of that will allow us at least a day of some quiet weather as we start the upcoming work week. Let's go ahead and time out how this plays out for you. This is right around lunchtime today. You see that round of showers and storms that moves through. That pushes east. Temperatures will top out around 66 early, but then we'll begin to watch our temperatures fall through the afternoon. So here's 4 o'clock. Temperatures will be back into the 50s at that point, staying through the 50s and into the 40s as we go through the overnight hours. I do think we're going to be staying on the cloudy side after that cold front pushes through as well. But then we begin to clear out the cloud cover into Monday. We'll see a return of the sunshine. Temperatures will be in the 50s for most of Monday, but I do think we'll begin to top out into the low 60s for your Monday highs. But beyond that, the next system begins to come our way into Tuesday and Wednesday. That could bring a round of showers and thunderstorms, some of which could be on the stronger side. Then we'll get a break in the action before turning unsettled Thursday into Friday. So we're watching that period closely. I know a lot of folks want to know how that Memorial Day weekend is going to set up. Maybe you want to take the boats out on the lake or just grill out. We're going to watch that forecast right now. The pick day of the weekend is Saturday. We're talking temperatures in the low 70s. We'll watch that Sunday rain chance as well, Christina. I can tell you that right now, that looks to be mostly late Sunday night into Monday. Hopefully, it stays that way.
81 on Friday. Boy,
81 on Friday. That's the forecaster now. Yes, things could certainly be warmer before a cold front comes through.
Thanks so much, Chris.
Of course.
Well, the time now is almost 7:19, and we hear that behind every great man, there is a great woman. But who stands behind these great women? Local innovator Jody Sweeney is here to talk about her program, which puts not just one woman, but 100 extraordinary women behind and alongside them with her new initiative. Welcome back. Well, in the day of women's marches and the Me Too and Time's Up movements, there's been an outpouring of women supporting and cheering on other women. It's an empowering feeling that Jody Sweeney knows well. Her organization, 100 Extraordinary Women, is working to provide that for women across our area. She joins us this morning. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's just get started with the basics. What is this organization?
It is a unique and very easy to use crowdsourcing platform where women can come together and support organizations that they believe in. And those organizations raise $100,000. That's pledged over 5 years, and they raise it in about 6 months.
So this goes to a variety of other women-oriented organizations?
It can go to any organization. I've used it for humane societies, public libraries, performing arts centers. The Historic Theater, the Al Ringling Theater in Baraboo used it and raised $100,000 when they were restoring the theater. So any organization can use it. It brings women together, but men can give in honor or in memory of women.
You're really tapping into a certain movement right now. There's
so.
a lot, as we mentioned, Me Too, Time's Up. There's a lot of women-oriented movements. Why do you think they're catching on now?
I think there's an incredible power among women. Women realize that if they want to get things done, they get things done in a very unique way. When we start doing this and women start talking and they plan an event for this and they wear the earrings that we have that are handmade, and use the 100 Women logo, there's just a synergy and an excitement that as women come together.
Sorry to cut you off.
Sure.
Let's talk about these earrings. We can show them. You're wearing them.
I
This
am.
is the logo. How did you come up with this logo? What does it symbolize?
I had a graphic designer, a really good graphic designer out of Chicago, run through an entire brand exercise, which is what did we want to say? And we talked about this is sort of the synergy of women coming together. So that's the brand we use, and those are for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So, but people at home can find those up on your website?
Right, absolutely.
And where else can they get involved with this organization?
All they need to do is just go on to our website and hit contact, and I will send them an email back in about 2 minutes. We monitor it all the time. And then we'll talk and figure out if this is right for their organization.
Thank you so much. And I know you guys have big plans with the website. You're now looking to expand even more, possibly behind Wisconsin. So thanks for coming and stopping in with us before you get too big for us.
Not at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jody. Well, there's still a half hour of news ahead on News 3 Now This Morning Sunday. Next, we're running through the morning's top stories, including a preview of tonight's Big Bucks game. And it all ended with a big bang. TV's top show wrapped up its 12-year run this week. We'll take a look back at the laughs and lasting legacy of the Big Bang Theory right after this.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning. It's May 19th. I'm Christina Laurie. We'll get a check of your Sunday forecast with Chris in just a second, but first, let's get you caught up on today's headlines. It's a big night for the Bucks and their fans. The team tips off for their first away game of the series tonight in Toronto. The team is 10-1 so far in the playoffs, and they're hoping to keep the wins coming in a game hopefully as decisive as Friday night's win. The Bucks won that game 125-103. Giannis had 30 points and is now one of 3 finalists for the league's MVP award, along with James Harden and Paul George. Game 3 starts at 6 o'clock tonight. Madison police are calling it a new twist on an old crime and something to watch out for this weekend. Kayaks are being stolen around town and ending up for sale online. Daniel Kreischer is a victim of this crime. He keeps his kayak locked up and stored at the city's Tenney Park racks. Tuesday night, he saw it was missing. He searched kayak on Craigslist, and sure enough, there was his boat. With the help of police, he was able to get it back. Police were able to return another kayak to a second victim, but still have 3 and are looking for their rightful owners. The Environmental Protection Agency says only about 9% of the plastic created here in America is recycled. Now one company is trying to revive an old idea to help with this modern-day problem. Loop is selling dozens of brand name products from Tide detergent to Haagen-Dazs ice cream in stainless steel or other reusable containers. When users are done with the products, they pack them up and ship them back, where they're washed, sterilized, and sent to the manufacturer to be refilled. Loopstore.com will officially become available to the public this Tuesday. And Chris, another soggy, cloudy day out there?
Unfortunately, that is the case, but there's always a silver lining somewhere, and that's the fact that more sunshine will be on the way at least a little bit later. In the meantime, some of that fog has lifted. We can now see some of the trees just to the south and west of the station. We're going to watch the fog continue to lift as we go throughout the day. You'll notice temperatures are also warmer than they were 24 hours ago. We're 6 degrees warmer in Madison, Monroe 10 degrees warmer, Platteville 15 degrees warmer. That is where we do have a warm front beginning to lift towards the north through town right now. Notice the southerly winds all starting to take over. In the meantime, winds coming out of the east, cold off the lake just to the north of that front, where temperatures are in the 50s and 40s. So we will get warmer as we go throughout the day. At the same time, the system has brought some rounds of showers and thunderstorms. And pay attention to the southwestern part of the state. Here comes another little cluster of showers and thunderstorms. It's not that widespread, but as we go into the afternoon, especially right around 10 o'clock towards lunchtime, so those midday hours, that's when I think we'll see a line of showers and storms coming through. That'll be a cold front that time. Temperatures begin to fall through the 50s with the clouds sticking around, though, as we go through the afternoon and evening. Christina?
Thank you, Chris. New this morning, parts of the Midwest are devastated after nearly 50 reports of tornadoes in just the past 24 hours. This morning, hundreds of thousands of people are still without power as thunderstorms continue to pound states from Texas and Missouri to Nebraska. The bad news here, storms could drop several more inches of rain again today, causing people to brace for another disaster, the potential for flooding. Well, we're 1 week away from Memorial Day weekend, and AAA says there's a good chance you're hitting the road. Nearly 43 million Americans are expected to travel this year. This would be the second highest travel volume for the holiday weekend on record, and a 3.6% increase from last year. AAA says despite gas prices averaging around $3 a gallon, most Americans will be driving to their destinations this year. In Wisconsin, more than 800,000 people are expected to travel for Memorial Day. Holiday travelers will likely run into some construction, and after 2 fatal accidents happening within an hour of each other last week, the DOT is reminding people to slow down and look up. The agency says last year there were more than 3,000 crashes in construction zones alone. 9 people died in those crashes, and more than 1,000 were hurt.
I think the biggest thing we see in crashes is the inattentive driving. Probably the 2 tickets that I write the most for crashes is inattentive driving and then following too close. If you're following the car in front of you too closely and then you get distracted by even the smallest thing, you can't see that vehicle braking in front of you, and that can even happen, even quicker in a construction zone.
Besides the risk of crashing, here's another reason to slow down. Traffic violations in construction zones cost you double. We have a first alert traffic note if you're driving through Janesville this week. Both directions of Wisconsin 26 will be closed under the interstate tomorrow night due to construction. As part of the I-3990 expansion project, the northbound bridge there is being replaced. That also means no left turns from the interstate exit ramps onto Wisconsin 26. That's exit 171A for people familiar with that area. The overnight closure goes from 7 o'clock at night until 7 Tuesday morning, and then overnight Tuesday, just the northbound lanes of that road will be closed. Work is also scheduled to begin tomorrow night on 2 sections of the Beltline. The work is planned between Gammon Road and Whitney Way and between Seminole Highway and Interstate 3990, both for resurfacing projects. Nightly lane closures will happen from 7 at night until 6 in the morning in both directions. The DOT says expect delays. More local news now. A Sun Prairie developer wants your feedback about what you'd like to see in the downtown redevelopment plans after last summer's explosion. The Lakota Group is calling for residents and business owners to share their ideas in an online survey. You can look at pictures of the proposals ranging from mixed-use projects that include shops and apartments to smaller-scale condos. If you'd like to participate, go to sunprairiestrongerplan.com. You can find that link up on our website. The future of Westgate Mall remains unclear this weekend as its last major retailer plans to move out. TJ Maxx is reportedly moving across the street, leaving only several stores left. The owners of the mall say they're exploring options to get it under a new contract. The mall opened back in the 1960s. A Madison author who has explored the mall's history says it's sad to see it now after knowing how popular it once was.
On March 24th, 1960, there were thousands of cars in this parking lot because there were 20,000 people here braving that cold to shop at the new Westgate Mall. And now on a beautiful spring day, it's empty and we're hearing about its final demise.
If you drive by, you'll notice Wisconsin Craft Market is the last main store visible from the outside. The store owner there says he's not going anywhere. There is some good news on the Wisconsin job front. Wisconsin's unemployment rate is matching a record low. The state's Department of Workforce Development released preliminary data this week that shows the state's unemployment rate is at 2.8% for the month of April. That matches the record low from last April. Well, time now is 7:35. After 12 seasons of television history, one of the longest running and most successful TV comedy shows ever is over. The Big Bang Theory series finale aired this week. CBS News' Mark Liverman has more.
Bazinga. Bazinga. 279 episodes, an infinite amount of laughs in a comedy universe that made nerdy cool. On Thursday night, the cast of The Big Bang Theory said its final farewell in the series' final episode.
I was there the moment Leonard and Penny met. He said to me that their babies would be smart and beautiful. And now that they're expecting, I have no doubt that that will be the case.
Thanks, Sheldon. I haven't told my parents yet, but thanks.
Earning 52 Emmy nominations, the show followed brilliant but socially awkward young physicists Sheldon and Leonard, their geeky gang of friends, and neighbor Penny. The show first aired September 24th, 2007, making it the longest-running multi-camera sitcom ever.
I just wanted to beat Cheers. I hate Cheers. Always hated Cheers.
You beat him by
So
this
take
much.
that, Cheers.
This much.
The entire cast appeared last night on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
There's a lot of pressure on how to end this, and fans wanted to know what was going to happen, so it was tough, and I think that they did it brilliantly.
The chances of finding a show with this big of an audience over this long a period of time, that's pretty rare.
It will be a tough void to fill and a sad goodbye for the more than 10 million viewers who watch the show every week. Mark Liverman, CBS News.
And we are re-airing the final episode of The Big Bang Theory tomorrow night right here on News 3 Now. So if you missed it or just want to re-watch that magic, you can catch that 7 o'clock again tomorrow. Well, time now is 7:37. A salad a day keeps the doctor away. Okay, maybe that's not how the saying goes. But our next guest is a pretty big fan of those leafy greens, and she's hoping to turn you into one too. Registered dietitian Tammy Schlitz is here to celebrate National Salad Month with us and whip up an easy, tasty take that you can make on any budget.
Well, it has been a rather active and stormy weekend, but today begins changes as we move into Monday. Right now, we still do have a warm front just to our south, along with a region of low pressure. That eventually begins to push towards the east, and its process of doing so, it brings a surge of warmer temperatures in here. Notice those temperatures into the upper 50s and near 60s just to our south, 40s as you work your way towards the north as that warm front begins to lift on through. We'll see those highs into the low 60s. But then a round of showers and thunderstorms around midday before temperatures drop this afternoon.
Thanks, Chris. Well, it's that time of year when we swap our sweaters and scarves with shorts and sleeveless tops. It's also a time when many people are looking to reset their diets. May is National Salad Month. Registered dietitian Tammy Schlitz is here with a delicious take that anyone can make. Good morning, Tammy.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to help celebrate National Salad Month. I feel like it's a good time now that we're getting into full-blown season of like cheese days and beer fest and brat fest, and so it's good to have a little bit of a balance.
It definitely is, but salads don't have to be boring and they don't have to be just not tasty. You know, you can put a variety of so many different things in here.
Absolutely.
What are you making this morning?
Today is a fruit and nut salad, and so we've got all kinds of different flavors and textures, and so you can really jazz up a salad and make it really creative. And so just dumping in some stuff, any kind of apple that you want to play around with.
What kind is this?
This was a Yellow Delicious.
Okay.
And some chopped dates for a little bit of kind of crunchy, juicy flavor. We got some pomegranate seeds, which are really fun. So if you've never had those before, it kind of gives you a nice little...
Yeah, and those even come here. I can show it here. They come in this little convenient container, so it doesn't have to take a lot of time.
Yes, unless you want a good project for your kids to like dig through all the seeds, it's great. But if you need a little convenience, those are awesome. And then the recipe called for goat cheese, but you could also do feta cheese as well. So tossing that on there to give it a little bit. And then I love putting nuts and stuff on salad just to get some of those healthy fats in there. And you can obviously play around with this as well and add whatever kind of nuts you'd like to that.
Yeah, so you have a good source of protein on here and no meat.
Right, you can absolutely make this a dish that gives you protein without that. You can always add grilled chicken or something like that if you do want to choose some sort of meat to put on there and make it more of an entree type thing. Otherwise, this can be a really awesome side. And then I love having some kind of staple pantry items because, as you know, as you go grocery shopping and towards the end of the week, those fresh produce can kind of lose its luster.
Or sparse.
Yes, and so I like throwing something like this on there. You can do craisins, but it tends to come with a lot of added sugar. And these freeze-dried cranberries are really nice because it's just that. There's no added anything to them. It's just cranberries, and it kind of gives you a nice little crunch. And so it's almost like a crouton replacement if you're looking for one.
Oh.
So just another nice way to kind of jazz up your salad. And so that's kind of what that looks like.
Wow, it looks so nice and colorful and like a little patriotic. We have some red going.
Exactly, you can throw some blueberries on there too, and there you go.
And then let's also talk about the dressing.
Yeah, so the dressing is really easy as well. Just an olive oil base and a little white wine vinegar or red wine, some pomegranate juice, a little mustard, honey, and then a little salt and pepper to taste. And I love putting my homemade dressings in salad jars, and that way I can just kind of give it a good shake, mix it all up, because it will separate on you. And that way you've got dressing ready to go anytime you want to take a salad.
And how long will that last?
This lasts a pretty good amount. I mean, as long as you keep it in the refrigerator and keep it sealed.
So if I made it at the beginning of the week, would it last through the work week?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay, that's always good to know. And so you're a registered dietitian. What is your, like, probably the most unexpected go-to salad ingredient that you think like make or breaks a salad?
Ooh. I think an obvious one, it can be dressings. And sometimes we kind of like slather it up and you can kind of have a hard time seeing the lettuce in there. And there's lots of ways to play around with that too. Even if you like a good Caesar or ranch, which I think kind of get a bad rep, there's lots of little tips and tricks you can use to still enjoy that flavor, but maybe a little less of it. And that way you're still enjoying the flavors of your salad. But I think the more you jazz it up with ingredients like this, you find a little dressing can go a long way.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming in to talk with us.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You'll come back on the program later.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And happy National Salad Month to you.
To you as well.
Thank you. Well, the time now is 7:45. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are expected to continue today. You're going to take a live look over the Capitol right now. Chris is back with your full first alert foggy forecast just ahead on News 3 Now this morning. But first, let's look at who's 3 years old today. Happy birthday to Caleb and all the other little kids turning 3.
Well, we've had a very active weekend, but changes are on the way as we approach the upcoming work week, at least for a day. We're still going to be active in the days ahead. I want to start out with temperatures across the state right now. Notice how to the north, winds are coming out of the east. That's where a lot of our temperatures are in the 40s as well. Down towards the south, it is the upper 50s and yes, even low 50s starting to join the picture. If you can pay attention to the wind streamlines, notice how they all begin to circulate and form into a point just to our west and northeastern Iowa. That, folks, is a region of low pressure. The warm front extending towards the east out of that is what's drawing in those warmer temperatures that we are seeing creep in as we've gone through the past couple of hours. This is also finally helping to lift some of that fog that we have had. Notice you can see a bit more of the ground out there. Still, though, things are cloudy, things are hazy. There is some fog in spots. We jump over towards the Edgewater sky camera and you can still see that. Temperature wise, we're at 52. Those winds still coming out of the east at 3. But folks, in a matter of moments, you're going to notice those winds changing direction and starting to move out of the south. At the same time, drawing in at least some possibilities of some additional showers and thunderstorms. We have this little cluster that's moving in near Platteville right now that's going to be working its way towards Dodgeville and Lone Rock as we go through the next couple of minutes. But here's the overall picture, just showing you those rounds of showers and thunderstorms that have pushed from south to north all day long, continuing to do so. The cold front back around I-35 right now. That cold front, folks, I do believe is going to push towards the east and bring another chance for some thunderstorms around midday. Now, as we watch those storms develop, as they get towards the Milwaukee metro, they'll have a small chance of turning severe. That's where that marginal risk for severe storms is. You're looking at isolated cases of some damaging winds and hail. Eventually, high pressure towards the north does push this whole system out of here. That's going to mean more sunshine as we go into Monday. Here's your hour-by-hour forecast showing you that isolated chance for some showers and thunderstorms to pop up once again. This is at lunchtime. That moves on towards the east. Watch how temperatures begin to drop, though. 59 by 4 o'clock, falling through the 50s and into the 40s overnight. Yes, we'll see some of the cloud cover stick around, but watch what happens into the day on Monday. The cloud cover clears out. We'll see more sunshine. The north wind will keep temperatures just a little bit colder, though, so we are talking temperatures that will stay in the 50s and low 60s. But then, folks, the next round of showers and thunderstorms arrives Tuesday and into Wednesday, another round Thursday and into Friday. That one's a warm front. Check out those temperatures on Friday into the low 80s. The pick day of Memorial Day weekend as of now is definitely Saturday and really most of Sunday, but Sunday night into Memorial Day Monday, we could see a chance of some showers and thunderstorms. So of course, we're going to be watching that one. In the meantime, here's Oblaka and Monroe for your pet walk. If you are walking your pets this afternoon, by 3 o'clock, I actually think any rain showers should begin to wind down, but we'll see those temperatures right around 60.
Geez, that's cold for this time of year, isn't it?
You would think, but you know, I told you about how, you know, a year ago yesterday, I moved to Wisconsin. It was 80 that day, but then the very next day, which was Saturday, it was in the 40s and 50s and storming. So I feel like this is just normal at this point.
That was a big old welcome to Wisconsin,
yes,
Chris.
it was.
And happy anniversary. Your anniversary here is tomorrow.
Yes, my anniversary at the station tomorrow, so it's been a lot of fun.
We're lucky to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thanks, Chris. Well, there's more news ahead all day long right here on News 3 Now. And then tomorrow morning, we're talking about the kind of scam that cost a Wisconsin woman thousands of dollars and convinced her that armed FBI agents wanted to arrest her. But first, meet Scotty, the new star in paleontology. Why this 42-foot-long T-Rex the size of a city bus is grabbing headlines this morning. We'll be right back. We end this morning with a big story. How big? Here's Jamie Yukas.
Hollywood, move over. There's a new star in paleontology named Scotty. At 42 feet long, this Tyrannosaurus Rex was the size of a city bus, weighed nearly 20,000 pounds, and lived for 30 years, the largest and oldest T-Rex ever found. Scotty is such a giant, it edged out Sue, the famous T-Rex at the Field Museum of Natural History in Chicago.
It's just huge.
Wes Long helped pull Scotty from the ground.
As our material was being prepared, and I knew it was something big.
67 million years ago, Scotty roamed the Frenchman River Valley in Saskatchewan, Canada. That sandstone Scotty was found in is so hard, it took researchers almost a decade to dig it out of the ground and realize just what they had.
Usually a dinosaur skeleton consists of only a few bones or a section of the skull. If you find that, you're happy.
Scott Persons was at the original dig site and led the team reconstructing Scotty.
Scotty lived a hard-knock life. It's got evidence of a broken jaw, of an impacted tooth. It's got a section of its tail where the vertebrae seem to have been compressed, possibly from the bite of another tyrannosaur.
Scientists found a lot of Scotty, almost 65% of the skeleton intact. So this is just one backbone.
Yeah.
Can I hold it?
You can just, you'll notice
my
there's a
goodness.
weight to it.
But to truly understand the size, you need to be next to it. On Friday, it will all get revealed at the Royal Saskatchewan Museum. Jamie Yukas, CBS News, Regina, Canada.
Well, it looks like I'm heading to Saskatchewan. That's certainly something to see. But in the meantime, we have showers and thunderstorms in our forecast today before more sunshine returns Monday. Then we turn active again.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning starting at 4:30.